firstly, a huge welcome, Ashish Vidyarthi, on India Today. I have to tell you that your love story has given hope to so many other people. Your recent new beginning has given hope to a lot of people. But I want to know from you now. I know choosing a new beginning which might ruffle a few feathers is not always easy. We have seen a lot of questions have been raised about your equation with Piloo and whether it was easy or not easy to sort of, move away from one marriage. I want to know from you firstly, what, let's address the elephant in the room first, that to everyone who has been questioning your equation, or why did you choose to leave your first wife or divorce her in the first place? What do you want to tell?
So, Bhavna, first of all, lives are interesting, right?
Yeah.
And each one of us has unique lives and we live lives. But each one of us really wants to do something good in our life, right? And the same is the case with Piloo and me. And we met and we had an amazing 22-year journey in life. And we had an amazing child en route. And we fulfilled our, responsibilities towards him. He's been an extraordinary mother. And I would say that I've been a good father. And Arth has been an amazing child. And so we are very, very proud of him, very proud of whatever that he's, how he's turned out. And we're also very proud of the way that we have brought him up. So there is a collective creation of Arth and how he's turned out. Now, a long story short, over this time, over the 22 years, over the last few years, amidst all the beautiful things that we created, an amazing time that we had, we also developed certain things which we saw were, and that had, that we discovered were that how we were looking at the future was very different from one another. And you see, anywhere in anything, whenever we see a fight developing, we hear of people fighting, we hear of people having a noisy relationship. How does it begin? It begins with some disagreements which didn't get sorted. But you still prolong it. So both Piloo and I, since we are very good friends and we had an amazing friendship throughout our journey as husband and wife, we used to communicate a lot. So at this point, over this time, we discovered that the differences that we had were not being able to manage it. And we realized that if we wait some more time, it will then have fights.
Right.
And then fights which first friends will hear and relatives will hear, then the world will hear, who knows? And then we'll be, upset, angry with one another.
Right.
So we both actually sat down and we had a series of conversations. And we, of course, before that, we took support, took help from professionals. That can we resolve it? But anything that you want to try, you want to give an effort. We gave the full effort, but we discovered that no, it was not going to be resolved. And then we had a choice. The choice very clearly for both of us was that should we part or should we stay together in spite of the differences? And I think we both clearly saw that staying together and vitiating it, because we are great friends, but when you disagree on day to day on how you would want life to be, it is just a seed which is waiting to pop into becoming something very large.
Right.
So we both sat down and chatted about this, and we also took Mowgli, Arth, into confidence. And though we didn't feel very good about it, Because obviously, at this point, I may seem very clinical about it. This happened, this happened. There was a lot of emotion happening. And obviously, there was pain, when something like this is breaking down.
While you were going through this painful period, I know talking to your kid about it can be devastating as well, because at the end of the day, he's your child, right? I want to know, what does it take to take a child in confidence and convey or tell them something this important, a shift in their life, in your life, basically? How do you make them comfortable with this?
So it is accompanied with a lot of guilt. I promise you that. Lot of guilt, because both Piloo and I did not want to give this kind of a life, at this portion of our life. So he was there in the picture even as we are going through that, and we discovered that there was also another important part, that staying together and making a mess of it very clearly, that would have been impacting both Piloo and me, and more importantly, it would have affected Arth, because he would very clearly know that parents are messing it up. They are really upset with one another, and imagine to like a slow drip poison. See, Bhavna, when things don't work out, then good people become enemies.
Yeah.
Because you're still trying to pull something. Just why? Because what will people say? Arey yaar, what will people say? "Yaar, chalo, saath chalte hain." And yes, people do suggest that let's stay together. No, at least stay in one home and deal with it. So I've always felt that staying in one home because somebody else will be happy कि at least साथ रह रहे हैं, but fighting at home, or even if not fighting, becoming two dead people staying in a house together, would it not affect the family? Would it not affect Art? Would it not affect? Everybody would know about it, but you people say they are separated, but they live together.
Yeah.
So you and I were very clear that we have lived our life with um, a lot of passion. We have lived with our togetherness has been. I mean, we've been, like together as friends. So this was, the first part is that it was very, very painful to even arrive that we are not, it's not working out. And then the part of telling Arth about it, taking him into confidence. And there's a huge amount of, guilt which comes up then. And again, that thing was that just to avoid that guilt, should you hide it from him and let this poison simmer? So we are very clear that we'll take responsibility that what we are doing, and we are talking to an adult child who's still a child. Remember, even though he's an adult, he's still a child. So it was very, very difficult to communicate with him, but hats off to Arth. How he, of course, he's still processing it.
Yeah.
But I remember what he said when he said that, it's the way you both are resolving it, that is better than, it continuing and festering into something. So obviously he's gone through this stuff, and I promise you, any breakup creates hurt.
When you first put up the photo of the marriage as well, I want to know, before I get to that new beginning part of your life now, I also want to know, when you posted that photos and shared that good news with everyone, your fans, your admirers, and the public generally, I want to know, were you prepared for the kind of reactions that would come? Because we have lived in this society for long enough to know what kind of reactions it can bring. So were you like sort of mentally prepared? Because I'm sure before you even took that decision or even broke that news to your family, people within your family or extended family might have also expressed some reservations. I mean, if not, then great. But I want to know that were you mentally prepared for all of this to happen?
So I'll tell you one very interesting thing that both Piloo and I discovered. So there was a time, so there were very clear two periods. One period is when Piloo and I were going through that, and it was some time it went through. And then we finally said, "No, we will put an end to it."
Correct.
Okay, but we will do it with dignity. and with grace. So that was one period. And then, of course, we let people who are very close to us, we took them into confidence and told them, look, this has happened, but we are not going to talk about it. We're going to be together because Arth is, and not hiding it from Arth either. So Arth is also known. So we are going to, his graduation, we'll do all those things as a family, not to put up any facade, but because that's our responsibility as a parent. And so we are very good, but our close friends, our family were clear that we are going separate ways, but we will do it with grace and dignity.
Right.
So, and when that decision was taken that we will be going separate ways, I was very clear that, at any age, Bhavna, um, I was very clear that I don't want to live alone. I want company, and let's face it. So at that point itself, I even shared with Piloo. I said, Piloo, even as we go in for a divorce, I'm telling you that I wish to get married because I want to walk my future with someone. And Piloo said, you know what? I'm looking at my life differently. I said, absolutely. So here were two people who, after a completion, we were choosing two different paths. And it is thereafter, when I met Rupali by chance while I was shooting one of my vlogs last year. And Rupali, as you might be knowing, she lost her husband 5 years back. And she had not contemplated marriage, but obviously she was also possibly looking for companionship. And when we met and we started chatting, I discovered that strange other ways of how things happen in one's life. We met and we talked, and I could get her sense of warmth and her want for family, and I certainly did have it. So as we got chatting, I saw a lot of empathy in her, a lot of warmth in her, kindness. And I also felt that that is something which I would love to resonate, in my life. And I would love to contribute to that because I am somebody who loves companionship and loves, in fact, love. So that's when we got chatting. And once I had a feeling that, yes, this is the person, I immediately informed Piloo about it, that Piloo, this is the person that I've met. I informed Arth about it. I let Arth know that, there's somebody like informed my close friends. But again, we did not tom about it. We didn't want to talk about it. Now, your question about was I expecting such a thing? Frankly, I have moved in life with a lot of personal belief. So for me, I have personally believed that each human being has the right to live a life in which that person can fulfill responsibilities.
Correct.
And make a difference to their own life too.
Right.
All right. So I do not believe that, I'm very clearly a person who believes in fulfilling responsibility. So I fulfill responsibilities, and at the same time, each one of us has the right and has the, to do things which bring joy to their life. You should not stop loving yourself. And in this entire period, one thing which is, I may say that, yes, did shock me, that how the element of age has come up.
Yeah, I was just about to
Sometimes,
ask you that when you read comments or people passing comments like कि अरे ये इतना बूढ़ा होने के बाद भी words like बूढ़ा and
Budha, Khusat,
yeah,
and many more words like that, derogatory words, very clearly derogatory. And Bhavna, what is interesting is that it is a comment that each one of us, whoever is saying that, we are passing on others who are older than us. Yeah. And at the same time, we are giving that fear to ourselves. Because each one of us, hopefully, will become old.
Yeah.
And we are telling ourselves that, hey, listen, Don't do things which, are you're not supposed to be doing. Like, what is it? Just because you're old, that means you're supposed to die unhappy? If somebody wants a companionship, why should he not? Why should she not aspire to have one? What are these walls we are creating for anyone? A law abiding human being who's doing things legally, who's paying his taxes, who's working hard, who's fulfilling responsibilities, that person is making a personal choice
True.
to get married legally with another person, you know, who's also keen to have a family and live with love. It's a thing in which each one of us should actually be supporting each other. That hope, I personally feel that each one of us should keep ignited rather than trying to puncture somebody else, but actually you're puncturing your own life. You're actually telling yourself that after a certain age,
You cannot do
even
that.
if
Yeah.
I think of, yeah, I cannot do that. So that's something which I was, frankly, I did not expect this, because through my life, I have added value.
I had this question because when we are talking about pain and being broken and the reactions that are coming, it's usually for the family who has gone through these things, right? But I believe that it equally affects someone who has come new into the family because
Yeah.
for her, I mean, for Rupali, everything comes as a shock. Like, a lot of people would blame her for a lot of things as well. Like they'd be like, "Oh my God, why did she want to marry into the family? She's sort of creating a problem in the family." You never know. I mean, several comments being made. I want to know how is she holding up to all the reactions that are coming regarding this entire episode.
Yeah, so that clearly is, thankfully, I mean that very clearly, that is this is a different chapter. After having closed that chapter, after having gone separate ways, that is when Rupali came in, and Piloo has been very categoric about it,
Right.
that I met Rupali only post our decision to move separate ways. So that very clearly is, you know, the, as to what is Rupali going through. Of course, I mean, not she's obviously, she's facing, but she's extremely positive. She's gone through a lot in her life. I mean, she shares with me that how overnight, when she's with somebody and that person suddenly goes away,
Yeah.
forever passes away, the jolt and the shock of not just losing somebody dear, but also how the world at large alters, life alters, realities alter. So she's gone through amazing pain, and she's gone through uh, a loss, and that has crafted her into what she has become. She's very stoic, and she says that I've seen a lot in just a little time, in just a snapshot, and that has allowed me to see that God has some design. I give into it. Thank you for this conversation.
Lovely, lovely.
Appreciate.
Thank you so much.